meats. So today we have a beef heart from Skagit River Ranch. Skagit is a place that we love to go to because they're ethical, sustainable, and it's local, which is always nice. Sedro-Woolley, which is about an hour and a half north. So this beef heart is about £1, and about $5 a pound, which is a real bargain. Considering when cooked right and cut right, it's about as good as a tenderloin in my opinion, which, you know, filet mignon is anywhere from $49 a pound when you go get it grass-fed. Also, it's an organ meat. It's really important to get your organ meats sourced ethically, especially when we're talking about animals, because organ meats are a lot of times they process a lot of the toxins, so it's really important to get something that's been raised right. Also, organ meats are the prized meats. We're talking about indigenous cultures and Homo sapiens throughout the ages. Organ meats were the first ones to go. They were given to leaders, to women for fertility, and a lot of the meats we eat now are muscle meats, and they were the first to go to the dogs in a scrap meat because they're not as nutrient dense. And when we're trying to eat a whole food diet, it's important to be nutrient dense. Okay, so if you look here at the heart, our butcher has already taken the liberty to cut it in half, and this is pretty common. You should get your heart like this, and you'll see you have some of the fat on the heart, so we're going to cut this off, these kind of bigger chunks. A lot of this, which I don't think it's technically silver skin, but it resembles silver skin like you would see in a muscle cut, you can leave on because it will either shrivel up or it will be easy to peel off once it's cooked. But this fatty stuff doesn't get more tender the more you cook it. So we're going to cut this stuff off. Yeah, and then if you open this up, you'll see these really kind of hard. They almost feel like rubber. These are the ventricles and arteries. And these we're going to cut out. And you know, you can feel some of them when they're in the meat. This one's actually quite soft, but some of these will be so hard and it feels like tough plastic in there. And again, that does not get more tender as you cook it. And since beef heart's such a tender cut meat, we want to get rid of that so we have a nice even texture across. So I have two tools here. I have my paring knife and my kitchen shears. This should be all I need for prepping my beef heart. So I'm gonna flip it over to this side. And I like to go against the grain, so it's running this way. So I'm gonna run my knife this way. So I just come up beside it. This is a pretty sharp knife. We get the Wusthof Classics. Nice bang for your buck, German engineered. I'm just gonna run it, and you can see it just starts to come right off. There we go. And it doesn't have to be neat. It doesn't have to look good because this is all gonna get cut anyways. You're really just trying to get all that off. Yeah, you can see it almost get to a certain point where you almost can peel it off. There you go. Do you see that? You can hear it juicy. Sometimes in your heart, you'll also see blood. You'll see coagulated blood. I'm not seeing any here. It will have a deep, deep burgundy color. You know, a lot of times we see that red liquid in a bag when we have meat and we think, oh man, look at all that blood. That's not blood. The blood looks quite different. So here we go, that's coming right off. That's nice. Now you'll see some in more classical presentations when they're trying to cut this into a whole fillet, they will take off this silver skin. They will take off this connective tissue. But for our purposes, I don't find it as necessary. Now you can see here, this should go. Just saw this area here. And I think one of the reasons people stray away from heart is because the prep time. You know, you have to be willing to take the extra 5 or 10 minutes to prep it and cut it right. But considering its price and considering the way it tastes at the end, it's well worth it. Okay, I think I'm pretty satisfied with that. You know, when it gets too thin to cut off, then that's pretty much when you know it's done. And like I said, I am no expert with a knife, and so a hack job will just have to do. My friend Damien is really good in the kitchen with knife skills, he would do a much better job. But there we go. That's what we got. Everything else looks pretty good. And at the end, once this is cooked, you'll see a stark color contrast between what is the heart meat and what is the connective tissue. And it would be easy to take that off at the end. All right, now I'm gonna take the kitchen shears and just start snipping away. So this is the part where you're bound to see the actual blood in these arteries and ventricles. Let's see if we can get one. No, none in there. Man, this is a really nice heart. Usually you can just feel this like super plasticky structure of all these components of the heart, but in this, we look good to go. So here and here, yeah, we have a lot of connective tissue. It's intimidating at first, but then once you cut it and eat it, see these right here? So these little are right here. These are usually much larger and much harder. These are very soft, which is nice. That's gonna cut up well. Okay. Look at that. No, these part here, I've seen people also cut all this out based on appearance. I don't really bother to. What I like to do at this point is you have these two pretty delineated steaks. So I'll just take my paring knife, kind of just follow the meat down. And there you go. Looks pretty nice. Here's some more fat. Cut that off. Wow, this looks really nice. I cut this penis out. It's gotta go. Okay. Nice. Prepped, pretty easy. So now at this point, you can really do whatever you want with it. The way that I like to cook it is either one, cook it like this, as that nice full fillet. Man, it just tastes so good when it's done right. Or you could.
How are they gonna cook it?
Just like you would cook a steak. Get a cast iron, searing hot. Choose your fat, your cooking fat. You know, if you look online, a lot of people will say olive oil, and just with the smoke point of olive oil being so low, I don't like to use it. I like to use something like clarified butter, a ghee. If I don't have any ghee, then I will just use regular butter. And when you're using regular butter in a cast iron, the trick is to get it brown but not burnt, because the moment you get it burnt, you get a real different flavor. But brown butter tastes great. It definitely on beef heart as well. So you get your cast iron to that smoke point, add your fat, and then throw these right in. And so you can either keep the whole fillet or cut it, cube it. And so I like to do the rule of thumb. So about a thumb long and then about a thumb wide. And those make nice little bite-sized chunks. So I think for this beef heart today, we're gonna keep this in these fillets. And the way that I like to marinate my beef heart is just throw it into your bowl and add your cooking fat, melted, and also a citrus of some kind. So I like lemon juice. I think it works really nicely. I've also used white wine vinegar, and it's also worked nicely. Just something...
acid. You mean acid.
Acid. What did I say?
Citrus.
Citrus, yeah. An acid of some form. I prefer citrus, but white wine vinegar, sherry vinegar, red wine vinegar, those will also work. I find that it cuts, even if you just have 10 minutes to marinate it, it will cut a lot of that organy taste that people tend to stray away from.
About how much are you using? Like 1 tablespoon of acid, or?
Yeah, I like about like a 1-to-3 ratio of my cooking fat to. So if I have 3 tablespoons of cooking fat, I'm going to do about 1 tablespoon of acid, just enough to kind of submerge it,
Okay.
And then salt and pepper, and then on top, I like to serve it with a gremolata. And a gremolata is a parsley and garlic mixture. You just mince up parsley, you mince up garlic, and then you add lemon zest. And if you don't have fresh lemon, you can use lemon juice. Be careful with your garlic. If garlic's not in season, use less, because cellared garlic is far more strong than fresh garlic. But I think that having a fresh gremolata on top adds a nice snappiness to also cut that gamey taste that people tend to shy away from in organ meat.
Even though it doesn't have that much of a gamey taste, the heart.
No, not this heart. This heart is fantastic. All right, so we're gonna cook this up, and we'll come back once it's finished and see how it turned out.